Guys, Series 2 is upon us.
We're back.
We are back indeed.
Excellent. What did you do in the weeks away?
Well, we've had an exciting one, haven't we? We've been on a road trip. We've been and visited Caffeine Machine. We've even spoke to Phil McGovern.
Joe, in the off season, your wallet has been twitching, has it not?
Is it really?
Has it? Hasn't it?
Well, yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, no. I thought I'd actually got a plan together and still am on the hunt for my Targa GTS Gen 2.
Oh yeah.
If anyone's thinking of passing one, let me know. It's become a bit of a lost cause, really. There's been 3 or 4 cars that sort of slipped through that were happening and then weren't happening, and then people changing their mind, and got a bit fed up with it. So yes, I'm still looking, not as intently as I was. If otherwise, I might as well just sit out until the right one comes along.
Yeah.
Fair play. Andy, any news between Series 1 and Series 2?
Series 2?
Have you broke your lift yet?
Sorry?
Have you broke your lift yet?
No, I haven't. No.
What's the most random thing you put on the lift so far? Come on, you must have played with
just
it.
the car. No, that's it. I did an oil change on the Audi A2 this weekend.
Very good.
Oh, yeah. It does make it so easy. It's great. That's it. Any job, it's just brilliant. Yeah. But no, I've just been working, really. I didn't get away with you guys, unfortunately. Made it to Caffeine Machine, but I didn't make it any far further north.
Far further.
Yeah. far.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to your stories of the weekend.
Well, do you want to hear them or not? That's the question.
I can't wait to hear them.
Yeah, okay.
So this, we should outline what we're doing for the series, shouldn't we, really? Which is essentially more of the same.
Yeah.
We'll have interviewees, of course, but we shall also be getting guest panellists on. I don't know about you guys, I really enjoyed those episodes. It's nice to get someone around the table and just kind of talk cars exactly how we do and just have them as kind of part of the gang for the night, isn't it? So much more of that coming up in Series 2 as well.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
We've not
Looking
really planned
forward to
past that, have we? Yeah. I need to, like breaking news to start Series 2, I'm looking for a Cayman.
What?
Well, not me. Not me.
Okay.
But I'd like to know if anyone has got a 987 Porsche Cayman. It's the Porsche Design Edition, because my brother's looking for one.
Oh, okay.
And just putting it out there.
How have you let him get away with that?
Yeah, is he just trying to jibe you?
Well, as we learned from Series 1, they are excellent cars. They're not marketing cars at all. They're excellent Porsches in their own right. But no, he's wanted a Cayman for a while. It'll be his kind of first car on the Porsche ladder, if you like.
Yeah. It'll be the only one he ever needs.
Yeah, well, this is it. Certainly, once you get one Porsche, it's rare you stray. You might have a midlife, mightn't you? But they all come back, as they say. But no, he likes this the Porsche Design Edition, which, from what I can make out, is a bit like a Black Edition before the Black Edition became a thing.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm aware of it. Obviously, having looked at a few more Caymans than you two.
Yeah.
No, you get some pretty stripes and slightly a few little bits here and there. And,
that's it. It's kind of trinkets, isn't it? But yes, if anyone's got one or knows of one that's for sale, please drop us a message, and we'd love to have a chat. So
this could turn into a car sourcing podcast at this rate. So we need a Targa GTS, please. We need a Design Edition Cayman. What do you need, Andy?
I'd go for a Murano Green 964.
Ooh,
yeah. There's not many of those around, but that's the wish.
If there's one out there, we're going to find it for you.
Yeah.
You'll have to buy it now.
Yeah, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
That's my favourite colour, and 964 I'd go for.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah.
So tonight we're going to have a chat about
our road trip. We've been away, haven't we?
Oh yeah.
It was good. Well, no, it wasn't. The first bit was good.
Well, we should explain, shouldn't we? So there was, I think, 5 or 6 of us in total who went, all Porsche guys.
Group of 6.
Yeah, from here on the South Coast. And everybody who came along has been on this podcast. They featured on Series 1, didn't they? So people at home listening will know of these people.
It was actually a road to Redline road trip. They just didn't know it.
Yes, which, as we discovered in the evening, became Road to Red Wine. And it was
luckily, the rants were plentiful but not recorded. So.
God, I was looking forward to the recordings. You didn't.
I think if we recorded some of the rants, we wouldn't have been able to sit.
It was,
really?
Okay. Blue and exclusive. Most of it about you, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, so we should point out I didn't make it up to Cumbria, unfortunately. I just did the Sunday morning run up to Caffeine Machine.
Yeah, so the plan was, wasn't it? Leave Paul early Sunday, go Caffeine Machine, and then go on for 2 days.
Bit of breakfast.
Yes, you turned back after Caffeine Machine.
Yeah.
I skipped Caffeine Machine and just met up with the guys later. Joe, you did
I did all of it.
But well, you did, but not your car.
You're looking forward to that story.
Can't wait to hear about that.
So the car, I mean, to be fair, let's get it out of the way early. Come on. So my little 912 very, very justly did the 300-mile trek up there, cruised up there with everybody, no problem at all.
It was hammering up there.
All right, I'll take that.
Yeah, it was doing well. I mean, the trip up to Caffeine Machine with a little bit pedal to metal now and again, and there's the little lights of the 912 were just keeping up in the distance
quickly.
Yeah, you were.
So did the run up there, no problem at all. First morning, we were probably 15-20 minutes in. It was pretty quick into the first runs up into the hills, and I got stuck behind, I don't know, some traffic of some sort, a couple of camper vans or something. And I thought,
a horse and cart.
Yeah, pretty much. All right.
I've only just clocked up.
Oh, he's got it. There we go. A big penny just dropped. And the light came on. I just saw it. But yeah, so anyway, I got waylaid back a little way, and everyone else pushed on. And these guys actually very kindly pulled to one side, let me pass. And about 20 yards on from that, there was a tiny little humpback bridge over a little river. And I was doing about 5 miles an hour. And right on the middle of this little humpback bridge, single lane thing, I just got this massive bang. And it was kind of a going on. So yeah, sort of stopped quickly, and the people
your heart
very
sunk.
Oh yeah, one of those, and the people that pulled over very kindly got out and give me a push.
Oh no! So you'd just overtaken them.
Oh, so yeah, it's bad. But yeah, they were very kind, and they gave me a little push into the lay-by next door. And yeah, long story short.
So what was your first thought? Was it like engine gone or?
Well, no, because the engine was still running.
Going.
The engine was running quite happily, so it was something drive related. I was hoping it wasn't sort of gearbox, and it felt too. Yeah, it was too sort of metallic for that. It was a big lump hitting big lumps of metal, which was never a good sound. And it was basically the one of the CV joints, inner CV joint, had broken, and as the wheel was going round, it was beating itself against the exhaust at the back. It was making a great noise and just pretty horrific. So yeah, unfortunately,
do you think that could be related to the wheel spinning incident on the grass at Caffeine Machine? Take it down.
Jeez.
So we got
the gloves are off then. Clearly.
Yeah. So we got to Caffeine Machine. Yeah, you wouldn't have heard about this story, would you? So we get there and they direct us up onto the grassy mound, and
it's quite a steep grass hill. Let's just
it is, and it was damp,
and there was quite an audience because everyone else was there. We obviously got there just towards the end of the coming in session.
Yeah.
So there was a full audience. Everyone else pulls in. Great. I've obviously swung round, pointing down the hill into reverse, obviously light car, rear wheel drive, wet grass, just spun up the rear and just sliding down towards everybody on the benches in front of me.
Really?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm sure there's a few. Didn't you start taking pictures of me?
I think Paul was taking video.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
full on video.
So there's a video and pictures flying around of me
being pushed up the hill by about 6 guys, I think.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. But I wonder if that couldn't have damaged the drive shaft, could it? But hey, I had to bring it up. Sorry, Jay.
So going back to my story, I'll cut it short.
Sorry.
Yeah, so the car went home with the AA and I carried on.
I actually think you did quite well out of that, Joe, from the trip, because you ended up driving everybody else's car at different points. So.
I did. I had a great time, actually. Yeah, literally, either got driven or got to drive everything, which was cracking. Excellent. So, happily dive into those because, we ended up with 4 very different cars, but all, really, really quite impressive in their own right.
Yeah, that's good. We should, we actually did a little interview with Phil at Caffeine Machine, Phil McGovern.
We did.
Shall we play that?
Let's dive into it because that was really good.
Good chat with him about reopening, what cars he's got in the garage, and it was good. It was good. Let's play that now.
Let's get him on.
What are we talking about today? Minis?
Whatever you want to talk about. We're a Porsche podcast, so I thought we might have a little chat about your Porsches. But how's it been back open?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. We We reacted as fast as we possibly could, right? We shut this place down within hours of being told we had to close it down.
Yeah, difficult decision.
It was. And then we went through pain for about 30 days of just ignoring it and burying our heads in the sand because we knew that we had a window that was July the 4th and we knew we had a bit of time to think about it.
Yeah.
And then Dan and I, whom we'll get to in a minute, my business partner, got to the realisation that we needed to get the boat into dock and we needed to park it and we needed to ensure it stayed afloat. And that's when we got quite unemotive about it. And then we started looking at what guilt-free changes we could apply.
Yeah.
And then monitor the guilt. You know, yes, you can say it's guilt-free, but it ain't.
Yeah.
But the thinking process is guilt-free.
I just think we should probably say exactly where we are.
Oh that's very true.
It's a good intro. Yeah. So we are at Caffeine Machine.
We are.
Yeah, and you know, it's different to what it was. I'm far more comfortable with the way that it's operating now.
I bet you are, because whenever I came down, it was absolute crazy house. And
it is, right? And you know, we had no idea when we did this that we'd have the resonance that we did.
Yeah.
And look, we had no idea what we were doing. We'd never done this before.
Yeah.
You know, I came out of an agency structured background of developing content strategies for people. Dan came out of Barclays. It was foreign exchange. We met in a bank startup.
Where did the idea come from then? Was it a few beers and you went, let's have a go? Or
no, it was. You know what? If you boil it down to the innocence of it all, it was loneliness that probably started to pull this together. Because strangely enough, it's true. I lived in a country in the Middle East. I lived in Dubai for a long period of time, and it's a visa-based market. Every 3 years, you get a rotation of those that are there for a contract. Those that have enjoyed it can apply for a 2-year extension. So the most you're there as an expat or as a foreigner within reason, bearing in mind 90% of the people that live there are foreigner expats, you leave.
Yeah.
And I was there for...
So it's quite a rotation.
I was there for a 12-year run, and I lost a lot of the 3-year, and then I had the 5-year, and then you get the big cleanse. And I was the only person left on the floor regularly.
Yeah.
And then cafe racer culture started to burble. And a friend of mine had a cafe in the centre of town called Cafe Rider, a guy called Murtaza Mulvi. And I just said to him, dude, I want to do a car night. And he went, go on then.
And that's how it all started?
He let me do it, yeah. So the first one was 15th of November, weekend before Yas Marina Formula 1 in 2015.
Wow.
And we timed it that Thursday night because I knew that Maximilian Cooper was in town. I knew that people like George Williams was in town, Tim Burton was in town, Shmi. There was a bunch of people in town that I knew that if I just fired a text message to one of them, a bunch of them would come.
Excellent.
And they did. And we did 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s. So we had a car from each generation and a bike from each generation and then an artist that represented what we were trying to portray that night.
And was it called Caffeine Machine?
The event was.
Oh, it was. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it started as the first one, actually. The second one, sorry, was called Luftkühler. And it was an air-cooled event. And I knew that if I cut to the core of my passion set, I'd find more interesting people.
Yeah.
And I found 25 very, very cool air-cooled cars. You know, the first Railvelt in the country to the first 911 that had ever been imported into the GCC.
Yeah.
To beach buggies, to 356s, to a Kubel wagon. All tucked away in Dubai.
Yeah.
Wow.
And these were locals. These were people that weren't leaving.
Yeah.
And
Is that cars you knew about, or did you sort of put the word out?
I kind of had a sniff that they were there. You know, there's so many cars and so many interesting collections, and they're so broad and so deep.
But they're all hidden away.
Yeah, but it takes that cultural kind of nudge of there's an air-cooled night coming.
Yeah.
Air-cooled night? I've got something.
Yeah.
You know, let's get it fired up. Let's get it ready. And it started to build. And then I wanted to move it around the town to see whether it was just Cafe Rider that was drawing me.
Yeah.
And I moved to another place and it got bigger. And we moved to another place and it got bigger. By this time, I'd met Dan. And I was like...
Was he out there?
Doing a big one. Yeah, so he'd come over for Barclays.
Yeah.
Into the Middle East. And then Barclays did a full cleanse. And he got caught up in that kind of cleansing and the shrinking of the Barclays operation in the Middle East, right at the same time as this gentleman called Mike Cunningham had created an idea with a bunch of other people within the banking industry to create a digital neobank, which was basically a bank with no financial license and no balance sheet. You used another corporation's balance sheet.
Yeah.
A bit like what you and I would now know as Monzo.
Yes, yeah.
Starling, same thing. You know, a heavily overbanked market, very saturated but under-delivered market in the Middle East. So there was a wide open opportunity. I got asked to become their chief marketing officer. Dan got drafted in as an analyst. We hit it off. And we talked about...
workmates.
Yeah. And all we talked about was Caffeine Machine. And then he came down to this big event that I'd put on at Dubai Ports. Huge. You know, like way bigger than we ever considered it would be. It was free. We just asked people for clarity on their revenues. We went home and drank a bottle of vodka and went, there's a business plan.
We got something.
There's a business plan, yeah.
And then just had to work out where to do it.
Yeah, under heavy levels of duress. So my business, I didn't have an access back into my business at the time that I'd started over there. And I probably didn't want to launch Caffeine Machine in Dubai. I knew it might have bigger legs than a trapped visa-based market would allow me. And it drilled down to the US or England.
Right.
I couldn't get my dad into the US as cleanly as I wanted to. Because my dad sits off my shoulder and always will. Couldn't get him in. And then we came back to the idea of the UK, and then it would always have to be here. Have to be in this region. For everything that you and I know, from Donington to Silverstone to Renault Formula One to Mercedes to Triumph to Norton to all of it.
You're so central, aren't you? You've got the pull of everybody.
And at the time we didn't know what the pull would be. So we thought, let's go here, because if anything, we can rely on day-to-day trade of Aston Martin engineers or Formula One engineers or these people that would pass in. We didn't know it would go bang. Like big time bang.
It's gone. So is the plan to do another one, or is it keep it tight and stay here?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a rollout dream. Everybody kind of, you would hope everybody does, but we've got a chartered goal that we'd like to achieve. Yes.
I always wonder, can you recreate the same spark and passion? Because like you said, it's the people that make the business. As opposed to the bricks and mortar.
Yes.
If you split it. And can you split the people to recreate?
There's a key man risk element for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
If you take you out the mix, for example, can that be created somewhere else and sustained? Do you think?
I think it probably can, on account of the fact that there's days where I don't turn up here, and there's days where Dan doesn't turn up here, and it's still got the same vibe because it's you guys that make it. I do agree with you, though. It's a risk. How do you multiply it? How do you put the Atlantic in the middle of it?
So
Without
you've
me
got to
just
put your
going,
DNA into it, haven't you? Somehow.
And I think in the original concept plan that we did, every C&M would draw from the location that it was sat in. So if we built one in Q8, it would be very different to here. Just like if we put one up in Manchester, it would be eminently different to here, wouldn't it? Different
absolutely.
vibe, different economic base, different educational level, more sportsmen. Be a different thing, right?
Mix, absolutely.
It would.
So you've got an air-cooled night coming up.
Yeah. So if you cut to the core of what I'm all about, it started with Beetles. And it grew.
A few of us have been there, I think.
It started with a really shanky 1972 Beetle that I just completely fell in love with, and then I got into Cal Look. And then you just naturally progress.
That's
into
a
Porsche
GTR.
territory. Big naughty GTR.
Lots of noise. Sorry about
it is, burbling. So the core of it was always that air-cooled thing, and I got trapped in it, and I made my way up through it. And you can throw it all away and leave me with a Beetle and an early 911 and a bus, and I'm a happy boy.
Absolutely.
And any of the connotations that fit with them, right?
So what's in the garage at the moment then?
So never really publicly revealed it. So Pops and I have got it's predominantly air-cooled. There's a Bug 57 oval.
Nice.
There's a 68 Westie, which you can see sat over there. I like slammed, so the lower the better generally, but they have to be drivable. And then there's a 68 912, which has been around since I was 23.
Nice.
There's a 92 964 RS, a 95 993 RS, and then there's a big ugly Jaguar XJ220 tucked away out back, which is the car that really kind of my poster child car, oddly. I know we've just spoken about air-cooled, but the one that was on the wall was an XJ220. So it was that, and then my Pops drives around in so what is he, 70, coming on 71, and he's still banging around in a 997 C2S. So he trucks around in that.
As worst dailies you could have.
Oh, it's so cool. It is so cool. I love seeing him bobbling around looking like David Letterman with his uncut beard and his fluffy hair. He's happy. He gets to see this, alive and well. Which is awesome.
Does he enjoy it?
Yeah.
He loves it.
Yeah. I mean, my dad, he would never beat around the bush. He went to work in the places that no one wanted to work in. And he's done his 10-year ship to get him to here. And he was working in places like Libya, Algeria, Saudi. Not the nicest places in the world. And he gets to chill and meet people now. Which is exactly what we built this place for, right?
Perfect.
Was to find like-minded people.
Yeah, absolutely. So which out of all of that is your sort of daily or your favourite?
Oh, if it was keys, no object, 912 always. I'm absolutely thoroughly in love with it. It's amazing.
It's nice to hear someone else say that, because the 912, as a fellow 912 owner, and you sort of, a lot of people, it's not a proper Porsche, it's missing 2-cylinder, there's all the spiel that goes with it, and it's I think people that have them seem to appreciate them and they get it.
And I think the thing that I love about it more than anything is people misgive the fact that it was the saviour to what we now know as the 911.
Yeah.
Because Porsche kind of ballsed it a little bit when they went 356 to 911.
Yeah.
The price jump was so huge that they had to make this car.
It scared the life out of everyone, didn't it?
So they had to make this car.
Yeah.
So they took this wonderful working engine out of the Super 90 and was like, well, we've got a great chassis. Let's just smack these two together.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. Balance is great. It's not fast, but you can get it third and fourth gear and never lift. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Love it.
Momentum,
dearly.
little momentum, balance car.
It's wonderful.
If you keep them rolling, then they do all right.
Yeah, they're doing all right this morning, Jay.
Yeah, mine holds its own. I think.
And it's the same with Si. So we've got a little 12 there.
Yeah.
We've got a 12 up on the hill, and there's a thing about them. They're delicate, for sure.
Yeah.
And they're so pretty.
They are, aren't they? Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie. If it had a 2.5 litre fire-breathing motor in the back, it would probably still be as cool, but it might be a little bit. It'd lose
some of its. Yeah.
I quite like them as they come. I think there's something that works. Isn't there?
Yeah.
I think they were put together at a time when actually they engineered the package to work, and it's for a 60s kind of sports car. I think they're actually quite ahead of the time.
And it would be tight, but all four of us could get in it if there was four of us.
Yeah.
We could all get in there.
Yeah,
absolutely. There's a surprising amount of space tucked away in them.
Yeah.
So it would be the 912, closely followed by that thing, the 68 Westphalia.
In love with it.
Yeah, it's magic.
It is low, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's on
it?
it's on Indy Air, so it lifts up. It gets everywhere I need it to get. But it's 60 miles an hour and enjoy the view out the bay window. You watch the world pass you.
Yeah.
And it's you can stop in it and you can sleep in it and you can.
We had a
do all the other
T25 Gypsy.
Yeah, wicked.
And that was like 50 miles an hour max in that because it's just like a brick. But you got in it and it was just like. Relax.
Slows down.
Yeah, everything slows down, and it's just like this is the. And we got rid of it in the end because it was getting a bit rotten and sort of needed a refresh. Yeah. So it was like, do you spend the $8,000 and refreshing it, or do you sell it? So we decided to sell it, and I kind of regret it in some ways. But
you're lucky with things like T25s. You can always go back to them.
That's right. Yeah.
It's getting left out in the cold with something like a 912.
Yeah.
You can look back at it and go, bugger, I should have bought one. Because I think it was, these were $10,000 cars.
Oh, probably less than
not that long ago either.
Yeah.
That's a scary thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's hard to find a real good cheeky one. Si spent a lot of time trying to find that one.
Yeah.
I'm referring to a red 67 short wheelbase, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
perfect. And Si's been navigating his way through quirky air-cooled cars, always has.
Yeah.
Prior to that, he had an amazing 57 right-hand drive, completely original, and prior to that, he had a completely original Westphalia. He's always been that guy.
Yeah.
Hence that.
That's what we'll work towards, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's ace that he embodies it. And his life is shooting things like that. He takes photos, and that's where he carved his niche.
Perfect.
And it all dovetails back into this, doesn't it? It all back to Caffeine Machine.
Yeah.
Is where these little networking niches come from, and these little pools of collaborative work come from.
So is he one of the organisers of your air-cooled?
Yeah.
night?
So I met Si by proxy. Actually, I again living in the Middle East, like I mentioned, and the bus over off my left there needed to get to Cornwall. So I spoke to Ben Lewis, the owner of Evil Benz, and said, do you know anyone that I could trust to get in this car from Warwick and drive it all the way to Cornwall?
Oh, that's how you met?
And I met Si.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and I met him at 5 a.m. on a cold, dank winter's morning, and we looked at each other and I said, see you in Cornwall. And he fired off to Cornwall, and then we spent 4 hours in the car on the way back. And he was doing this thing called DTA, which was an air-cooled meat that grew and grew and grew and took over. I think it was the Condor Printworks in Birmingham. I think it's the Condor Printworks. Massive, quirky air-cooled event.
Yeah.
And he was drawing people all over Europe to this thing.
Wow.
But life got ahead of him, and children came, and DTA paused. And I phoned him up the other week and said, do you want to do an air-cooled day at C&M? And he was like, yeah, game on. So we'll start to build it from there, really.
Yeah. So is the plan to do that as a more regular thing?
I'd like to do one every Wednesday, yeah.
Oh, wicked.
Or, sorry, one
every
Wednesday
month.
every month. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
And that's your plan, isn't it? To do a few more sort of
it's this weird word of cadence, isn't it? And it's being able to present something that's regular.
Yes.
People want routine, don't they? And I think that's the problem. If you know where you're going to be and that's my C&M night, then brilliant. It just becomes your routine.
So we'll start to do that. And we've already got it. We had it prior with Daikoku. That was our first attempt at running a regular thing.
Yes.
So Daikoku's our hat tip to, it's not really Japanese culture, but it is Japanese culture. So we do, it's called Neons and Noodles.
Yeah.
We change the menu. We light the building up. It's very different. The music playlists change, and the car park becomes an eclectic mix of JDM culture.
Yeah.
But you might have Euro mixed in there.
It's good to have that where you've got a night of one particular thing, but then you've also got
it's
days
inclusive,
that
not
yes.
it's inclusive, not exclusive.
Absolutely,
so you can have 5 or 6 brands working on a JDM night together, and then you get the oddities that roll in. There's always going to be an oddity, like Lambos are synonymous with the crazy side of Japanese culture.
Yeah.
So they start to roll in. Like, okay, I didn't expect he would show.
Yeah, with lots of neons.
Yeah, and modded
thing,
911s, and on our opening night, Singer decided to bring their DLS mule down because that's what Daikoku was all about. Right? They were trying to touch the market in Japan with interesting product.
Yeah.
So if it's a DLS mule, it gets people talking.
Absolutely.
Fits the theme.
Yeah. Or it might be an Alpine one night because they don't get seen very often in Japan.
Yeah.
So Alpine very cleverly would turn up to Daikoku. It's just a car park meet.
Yeah.
That's all it is, right? So again, it's just people meeting people.
On the other side, just out of curiosity, I mean, does the 2-wheel thing do anything for you? Are you into your bikes at all, or is that not your bag?
Yeah. But again, it's we're noting this. I think there's 2 different types of bikers. There's the set of bikers that don't particularly resonate with automotive, and then there's 4 wheels, and then there's the 4-wheelers that absolutely love bikes.
Yeah.
We're more not focused. We've more naturally drawn that crowd.
Yes. Yeah.
For me, it's anything that doesn't go more than like 10 degrees lean, because I'm just scared of my own desires to go fast, right? So
bikes scare the life out of me. I mean, just the idea of having nothing around you is just never appealed particularly. So I can appreciate cool, retro, custom, all that sort of stuff.
Yes,
I think
that,
lovely.
That
these sports bikes that do 200 and something miles an hour, just
I'd sit and watch MotoGP all day long and think it's the wildest thing in the world. I don't want to be getting on one.
No, same.
I've experienced it with the Panigale, and I got off quite quick because I'm like, okay, this is enough. It's traction control's coming on at 3-figure numbers.
Yeah,
it's dangerous, and it was dangerous to me.
Yeah.
So I focused in on things like I built a Bonneville in the Middle East. It was just a very simple, like a tracker bike.
Yeah.
So I can run down the fire roads in the desert, knobbly tires, straight handlebars, sit up and beg kind of thing.
Yeah, cool.
Reminiscent of a BMX. Big sleds, these big low things that just don't lean very far. But it's all about the art that's tucked away in them more than the function.
Definitely. I think the prettiness of them is kind of got to be key, I think, for me to appreciate them as opposed to the
if you can park it up in the lounge and you can perv over it and ride it twice a year, that's my kind of bike.
Yeah,
absolutely love it. I wouldn't be riding in the rain or way sketchy, especially on English roads. Crikey.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Bad enough on 4 wheels, let alone 2.
Yeah. It's painful. It's bad.
Cool.
So what about what's the imminent future then of C&M, do you think? What's the next 6 to 12 months look like with the current situation?
We're about to open up the weekday structures. So the
I saw
pre-book
that. So
ticketing
no
element of
pre-booking.
it. No, because we're very thankful to everybody that did do that, because we needed to.
You need to prove the systems.
We needed to backbone the thing, and it has, and it's ace, and we're so thankful that everybody kind of worked with that structure. We're going to release that through the week now. But then we're going to probably keep it on weekends. But again, we don't know where we're going to go. It might be 4 blocks, it might be 3 blocks, it might be 2 blocks. What we want to do is never lose the essence of C&M, and we're actually quite surprised at how strong the essence is, restricted to the level it currently is.
Yeah.
It's actually gotten better.
Right. Okay.
When we had 500, 600, 700 cars on site and thousands of people and queues everywhere, it was a vibe for sure.
Yeah, but was it the right vibe?
But it was better. It was nuts. But people were amazing. They were like, well, this is cool. We'll hang out and we'll make this work for you. But then we're going to go and have lunch in Stratford.
Yes.
I'm like, balls. That's how we stay alive. So how do we capture that? And then when we shrunk it, we were worried we'd lose the essence, but if anything, it's come back stronger.
Yeah.
Because you get your table, you can sit and chill. We can do this. We could never have done this.
No, absolutely, yeah. You'd have just people sat on every post and a bit of grass, wouldn't there?
So we know from testing with these other events like Daikoku that we can go as big as 350 vehicles.
Right.
That was the biggest we ever did on a locked ticket-only event. And we're currently doing 15 vehicles and 15 bikes. So we've got room to grow.
Yeah.
And that obviously that hour gap will shrink.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's just we're at the behest of what's going on around us.
Yeah.
Make the best of what's available, I suppose.
So to cut to the chase, get our web assets sharper. The clothing line is about to be formally launched It's taken us a while to get used to how it's going to sit, but we now have a plan. So Cult of Machine will be the clothing line.
Yep.
So we're going to launch that. Then Cult of Machine will sponsor our own house events, and we'll start to get these weekend structures back in play, like Built Not Bought, like Supercar Style Guide.
Yeah.
All of these interesting things that are exclusive, non-exclusive. So you can come back to part of it.
Yeah. Good plan.
Keep growing. And keep doing these. I like these.
Excellent.
I like having gases.
Right. Thank you very much for a short interview. Good to
Appreciate
see
your
you.
time.
You've got an amazing road trip ahead of you, so I'm most envious.
Yeah, we're heading north, so it's going to be an interesting one, which I'm sure we'll have a few updates on.
Yeah.
And
where do you guys get followed online? We're easy. We're Caffeine Machine, but
Road to Redline, we are.
there we go. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
We do a bit of a crossover, I'm sure. We can pump this both ways. And,
Yeah, man.
For sure.
Share some love and all that sort of stuff.
For sure. Thank you, gentlemen.
Amazing. Cheers for that.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Well, good to know Caffeine Machine's business plan for the next 6 months then, I suppose.
Yeah, it's insightful, isn't it, to find out what's going on and how it seems to be working as well. It's good.
So you'd been there before, you were saying, Andy, as off
Yeah.
air. What was that for?
Just a couple of times, just passing. Literally, I've been up to centre gravity, and I was just passing on the way back. And the other time, when I went to a Rensport collective.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just popping in for lunch or like a beer on the way back. Every time I've been there before, it'd been just a bit of a madhouse. So it was quite nice to see the more organised and comfortable sort of new Caffeine Machine. It's good.
Yeah. So you prefer it?
I think it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's great when it is a bit of a madhouse and there's all sorts coming and going. But it was quite nice that it felt a bit more relaxed and you could actually get a bench and have a bit of food and chill out a bit rather than being sat on a random bit of wall somewhere or a bit of wet grass. So, yeah, it was good. Yeah, really good little visit.
Yeah, first time for me, so I don't have anything to compare it against, but it's definitely a pretty cool place. I think it was good. Enjoyed it.
So from Caffeine Machine, which was the Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Andy, you headed south. Come
I
back.
did, yeah. I came back home.
Down to
so
the coast.
this is the bit that I'm interested in. See what you got up to.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
We headed
Other than
north,
breaking 912s.
we should at this point. Or have we already said? I can't remember if we already said about people coming on. Oh no, we have. Yeah, about who it is. But we should probably at this point. Sorry, might have to edit that bit out. If that's okay. Chop. We should perhaps point out, or just perhaps remind people what everyone was driving, because Phil, obviously, at the end of Series 1, mentioned he was buying a 991 Gen 1 GTS.
And he did exactly that.
He
got it the next day, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Phil came in as exactly that. Yeah, Gen 1 GTS. What else? Black with black everything. Really, really
Black
nice
on
car.
black on black.
Yeah, quite literally. Full aero kit as well. So
Which actually looked really good. We were taking the piss out of him, saying it was lots of wings and tings.
Wings and tings.
But it actually looked really good.
It did. It does look good, to be fair. I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of the double wing, but I think it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was cracking. And Chuck, who obviously came on before, was in. Well, we said it was borrowed. It was more like an extended test drive, really, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. She's going to buy it.
I reckon. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't, but we will see. So Chuck's in the market for a 991 of some description, and that car ticks all the boxes. So I think there might be a deal. Happening.
Might be a deal to be had. So that was a 991 Gen 1 C4S Coupe PDK.
And Lee, very specifically, you put down the bet that was it £20 of your finest, that it was sapphire blue.
I can confirm it is not sapphire blue. It was funny, wasn't it?
You paid up yet?
No, I don't know who I am. If it's 20 quid to everyone, I'll get my shoes on and off. But I was looking at it on the early morning the next day, because I arrived quite late on the evening before. And in the sunlight, I kind of said, I feel like this is sapphire blue that just needs a really good polish.
Yeah. Well,
hasn't
Chuck spent like 2 days polishing it before?
Had he really?
He just spent 2 days on the car.
Wow. Well, it needs a good like cutback and polish.
His job was shit, wasn't it?
It does. It definitely needs a little bit of love in that regard. But I didn't realise that. That's what I said anyway at the time. And we're kind of looking at it. Well, it had that kind of that sapphire like blue pop in the sun. Like the Gen 1s do. And sapphire blue was a popular colour for the Gen 1.
Trying to justify your guess.
Well, yeah, this is it. But then it was following him later on, and we had this lovely drive, which I'm sure we'll talk about in more detail later. But I was following him / stuck behind him for a little bit. And I could just, it's definitely not sapphire blue. It was aqua blue. They're very similar to my mind.
Yeah, obviously.
Keep me 20 quid. Yeah. So Chuck came up in his not sapphire blue. No, Forest, didn't he? And who else do we have? Paul. What car did Paul come up in?
Well, 997 4 litre. I mean,
just as you do.
Yeah, one of those.
Which proves to people listening at home that he's absolutely true to his word in driving these cars. He's got a wonderful collection, and as we can testify, we see them plenty of times on the road.
And it was driven in some anger as well. It wasn't a Sunday drive. It was trapping down the roads.
Serious presence on the road, that car.
Yeah.
And I was taking pictures and videos, and that 4 litre just pops every time you took a picture of it. It just looks amazing.
Well, how did you guys find it's like the drive up to Caffeine Machine and beyond? Because the other 3 cars on the trip were 991s or 997s, wide-bodied, in the case of the 991s. In the 997, yes, wide, but also shod with Cup 2 tyres. I mean, I know I picked up a hell of a lot of stone chips from that trip, but obviously our cars as a collective, they're kind of the smallest, the oldest of all of them. And
it's true, actually. Yeah, didn't think about that.
If you're behind the new stuff, you
just
know
about it.
Yeah, your paintwork gets absolutely hammered.
Yeah, mine does look a bit screwed, actually.
You'll be buying a paint shop next.
Yeah. Definitely.
So they were the cars all in. We got up early on the first morning and hit up from Penrith where we stayed. It was the Hartside Pass.
We did.
Over to Alston way.
How was the trip up from Caffeine Machine?
Yeah, I mean, that bit's not overly eventful.
Standard
just
M6
getting up.
fare, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that.
Just getting up for some food. And
yeah, we had a lovely little stop. What was it called? The Hall. Was it the Hall?
Great Hall? Sandbach?
Sandbach, that's it. Yeah, something like the Hall or the Great Hall at Sandbach. And it was that good that we did lunch at the same place on the way home.
Wow, that's good.
So yeah, and with Phil the foodie in tow, like you always know it's going to be a reasonable.
Was that a planned one? Or was
no, not at all. We were just going to pick up something on the way. We had a really good recommendation from Phil at Caffeine Machine.
Oh yeah,
and I called them on the way. And no, not open tomorrow. So we all changed our sat navs rather quickly, and we found that, picked that up on the way, and it was
so
nice.
lucky catch.
It was indeed. So that was great, and that's that lunch it was meant to be a quick 20-minute whistle stop. Let's grab a quick sandwich.
2 hours.
Yeah, I think it was all of 2.5 hours. You get gassing and couple of half-siders flying around, and that was that. I think you did, Lee. I think you said you were following us on like the WhatsApp locator thing, and you said like we'd stopped quite a while, and you noticed.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to catch him up.
I was thinking, we're either going to do this road trip or not. Are they just going to stay in just off the M6
eating
for a few hours? Yeah. But no, you did get back on route, and I think, by the time I met you guys at the hotel, which was fairly late, there was a couple of bottles of wines around the place.
We were into the alternative
road to red wine.
Road to red wine.
But we got up the next day, that Hartside Pass, which we've mentioned previously on the pod. Fantastic road. I think there was just like one dumpster truck to overtake, which is quite funny because you can get to like the summit of the pass, which is where the Hartside Caff used to be. And we just popped over, didn't we, just for a quick look over the valley and stuff. But as soon as we hopped out the car, the dumpster truck was coming around the corner. So we thought, let's get back in, because if not, we'll be stuck behind him again. So we then carried on past Alston.
Some of the views up there were just
beautiful,
stunning.
Absolutely
you can see for God knows 20 miles. It was.
Oh, and you had the fantastic weather as well, didn't you?
It was
thinking
great
back.
Yeah, the weather looked after us massively.
Yeah.
It was shite on the way up to Caffeine Machine.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, no, we left in the rain, didn't we? So we were hoping for a dry start. I forgot about that. So we left Poole and it was raining, and it was luckily it did dry out as we went. And the further north we went, the drier it got. So.
It's rare that happens, isn't it? But the great thing about that road we were on, excuse me, the great thing about that road we were on is the fact that it's so well sighted. So like, yes, like great for views and stuff, but also just in terms of like your driving, obviously we're all being sensible.
Yes.
But it's just kind of a better road when you can see more of it. You can only drive to what you can see, isn't it?
Yeah.
100%.
So a fantastic swooping road. Yes, past Alston, as we say. That's when you popped to drive shaft, Joe. So
how long did the recovery take?
Oh, well, to be fair, they were there in 18 minutes.
Wow.
Which I was
That's
like...
good.
They were following it.
You cow.
Harsh, but I called her in the morning, let them know I was going.
Yeah.
No, the guy was there really quick, to be fair. Even though you kind of give him the spiel, no, the car's going to go on a trailer. No, you still got to send out a man. Funnily enough, he got there and went, the car's going to go home on a trailer.
Can we just add in, I hope you don't mind, Joe, but when did you book your AA? When did you take out your AA policy? Because it's cracking.
Okay, so let's put some context around it. So I was stood up on the side of the road having popped a drive shaft, as you put it so nicely, at 10ish in the morning, give or take. We left at 6:30 the previous morning, and I subscribed to my AA membership at 6:20. So I was a paid up member for just over 24 hours.
Oh, that was lucky, wasn't it? Because I think you have to be 24
First 24
hours.
hours is no go. So I was just over my 24 hours, and they very kindly, for my 12 quid, took my car all the way home for me.
My God, you were lucky.
Yeah, so pleased I signed up, and I think I'll stay a member for a while because I owe them now. Brilliant. Yeah, highly recommend the AA though, to be fair.
So they chucked it on a trailer and sent it home.
Yeah, so I obviously felt massively guilty when you got a group of you and everyone's waiting around. There was a little castle up the road, as you do, and to be fair, like everyone else had stopped at the castle. They had a frappuccino, mochaccino, whatever. They were sat in the gardens in the sun, topping up the suntan, and by the sounds of it, they were all happy as Larry, and they would have sat there all afternoon. So,
well, Chuck was trying to have a tour of the top of the castle. He was trying to talk his way up there. So I think people didn't really mind.
Yeah. So, but, they get that. I mean, they gave me it was going to be an hour, and then I rang back in, and it was going to be 3 hours. And I thought, so sod that. Anyway, long story short, they basically said, look, if you have to leave the key somewhere safe, then you can leave the car and we'll deal with it.
Okay.
So I was like, cool. So we did that. So Lee very kindly came and collected me and all my stuff out my car. And we left the car and pushed on.
Cool.
And they did it over a couple of days. And by the time I got home, the car was home. So
that's nice. Good.
All good.
Right, we don't need to talk about that anymore then.
That is done, dusted, whatever.
Bringing it up.
Well, we might mention it a couple of times.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So we kicked on in the afternoon, and I can't quite remember the route, but we ventured into Scotland.
Yeah, we touched the Scottish border. That was
accident.
Went around the corner. There's a massive, I don't know what it was, 10, 12 foot high lump of stone. It's got England one side, etched into it, and Scotland the other side. So we were like, Christ, we've come away.
Yeah, and there was like Northumberland at one stage. My geography of that part of the country is not amazing, but I was thinking,
somehow we bounced off what felt like four counties and 2 countries.
Yeah, it really was. But most miles were just absolutely brilliant drives,
non-stop.
Brilliant drives. And I think we were vindicated because as a group, weren't we? We were discussing about going to Wales. We wanted to do a post-lockdown drive, didn't we? And we felt maybe we shouldn't go to Wales because it might be too busy. And I really feel like we were vindicated going where we did because it's just a little bit kind of more out of the way. It's not so much a destination for petrol heads, is it?
Yeah.
It's not, but I tell you what it should be.
Keep it quiet.
Well, maybe it shouldn't be. Yeah, should we cut this bit out?
Yeah. So who did the route? What was the route?
Well, funnily enough, I and Rob from Series 1 in PR at Porsche might be listening to this, but essentially when I picked up a press car maybe 6 months ago, there was a little laminated A5 sheet left in the glove box, and I only found it. I always do a sweep of the car before I go because I have driven home and left my phone in the car before. And I found this little sheet, and it was a route from...
I'm still missing my hat.
Oh yes, I can give it to you today. What a great shout! No postage. You won the thing. Oh,
no, my hat.
Oh yeah, God,
yeah, my deputy dog hat. I left in the last press car.
Yes,
it was a good job you lost that hat. Come on,
that is long gone. Moody hat. But,
route. Sorry, I keep diverting off.
This bit of paper, was just in the glove box, and it was a map from the UK 991 Speedster launch.
Okay.
I'd taken a few extra cars up. So I was like, oh, fantastic. And I just dropped on the WhatsApp group, didn't I? I've got this route, try it out. And it was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. Awesome. So shout out to Porsche PR for leaving that. Serendipitously, we picked it up.
I think we need to ask Porsche PR to send us all the other routes that they own ever, because that was
blinding, because that's the thing, we even used all their coffee stops.
Yeah,
which was like the castle and stuff.
We did, yeah.
Like, so
fantastic.
It was absolutely bang on. A phenomenal day's drive. For me, the highlight was the end of that first day, because we had this drive. Bloody hell, honestly.
You know when you give like a toddler too much chocolate,
and
they're like bouncing off the walls, and they always can't get their words out. They're that excited.
Yeah,
that's pretty much how that run ended. There was a little proper locals pub where we sort of went in and went to get a drink, and everyone sort of looked at you a little bit funny because you weren't from the village. But so we got a drink, sat down, and Lee was literally bouncing off the walls. It was a cracking.
To my mind, it's the kind of thing, we've all had this crazy year and stuff, and we're finally let out to play. From Bournemouth, isn't it, or Poole all the way up there was, it's a good 6-hour drive.
Yeah,
a lot of fart-arsing around and whatnot. And but in that kind of 45-minute drive, it was absolutely all worth it and some. And
it was one of those sort of lottery drives, wasn't it? It was just
without a doubt,
right road, right time. Sun was out. You couldn't have set it up any better.
Lovely road, like traversing the edge of this valley, sun setting. A Metzger engine in the RS 4 litre, 2 wide-body 991s, My Little Irish in there as well. Just
no 912.
No 912, but just those cars hacking along, the flat six sound, bouncing off the valley. Absolutely, like that is exactly
what it was all about.
What we all drive for, without a doubt. So we were absolutely
and you were
afterwards
pedaling fast. I mean, that was It was fun.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was good fun keeping up with the 991s, because as we've kind of discussed, and it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts, Joe, which we've discussed a little bit off air, but the 991 platform is so capable now, and obviously the 992 is an evolution of it. And we were discussing actually when we were sharing a car for a bit, weren't we, about like where is that cutoff in the 911's lineage as to where it just becomes easier? Is it a set? I don't know. Or what's that traditional 911 sense or traditional 911 drive into something that's
almost too polished?
Yeah.
I think the big question is the 991 that car or not? Is that the last straw, or actually is the 991 already gone too far that way?
Yeah.
Don't know. The answer is a short one, I suppose.
Which is interesting because both of the 991s, they didn't have rear axle steering.
No,
they were passive, but obviously it's bigger footprint, isn't it? The wheelbase is 10 mil longer. The engine is slightly nudged forward in terms of weight balance or distribution. But like I say, it's a challenge to keep up with one of them on a twisty road. That's for sure.
Yeah,
and everything about them so clinical. I mean, Chuck, I remember bombing along. I was pedaling the crap out of the 996. Looked in the rear view mirror and Chuck's just sitting behind me banging through the gears on PDK, probably fat cigar going and whatnot, and
listening to radio.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's just kind of, I think, indicative of the 991, because he had no right to be there.
Not the way you thought you were driving.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I think really interesting with 991, and I think. We should get Chuck on to talk about it, because obviously it's his first time going 991. He's had most other things. It's interesting over the course of 2 days how much quicker and how much confidence he built in that car in such a short amount of time.
Yeah,
because you're always cautious when it's a new car, but I mean, you just over the course of just over 24 hours, his confidence in that car just went through the roof, and I just think that just shows how not easy it is, but how that car, it really, really does look after you, I think.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. I think 991, it can put you into an amazing place without too much effort. Is that fair?
I think so, But like, what an amazing all-rounder, because to get up there again, we've had a fair slog across the country. Chuck and Phil are averaging mid-30s MPG, which does make a difference. I know it's kind of boring to talk, but
Phil's on the way back, 37 miles to the gallon, I think it was. It's like, what?
Which is incredible for a 430 horsepower naturally aspirated car, by any definition.
But Chuck said himself, I mean, that normally those sorts of drives, it's just, he doesn't really do it for him anymore. He spent his whole life on the road. He said, he drove up there in that 991, got out the other end. He's like, "Oh, I could do that again."
Yeah.
He just said he couldn't believe how comfortable the ride was. It was like riding on air compared to some of the older fares. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, and that is the brilliance of the 991 platform, to give it a kind of a fair appraisal, because it can do all of that in absolute comfort. I mean, the C4S that Chuck went up in is a 62 plate. That is an early 991 Gen 1. Interior still looks fantastic in terms of like wear and tear. It doesn't. I don't think it looks dated in there at all.
No. If you park that up next to the, if you parked it up next to the GTS that was fully loaded GTS, I think you wouldn't put the two cars years apart.
Yeah. And what they're knocking like 45k now, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, I reckon that 4S. We had that discussion at length because obviously Chuck's got to go and do a deal. But yeah, we got to the figure of sort of mid 40s. I was chatting to someone the other day about it, and he reckoned it was more like a early 50s car.
Really, for one that early,
for a 4S, even an early one, because it's 40,000 miles, so it's not big miles for the age. But yeah, he reckoned an early 50s. I thought it was strong. We got to mid 40s, but I mean, I was looking the other day. The cheapest 991 out there at the moment is 37 grand. Big miles. I think it's 90,000 mile car. But yeah, it was fully loaded, aero kit, all the bit. Yeah, looks the part, and you're well sub 40k. I think that's loads of car for the money.
Loads of car for the money.
Is it that crossover point, isn't it, where you can get a really nice 997, or you can get a higher mile, slightly more unloved 991, and you've got to sort of pick your horse, haven't you?
What would you go for then? With that scenario, I'm going to put that to you both.
Personally, I'd jump straight in 991 all day. I mean, I like the 997. It's just, I think it doesn't do a huge amount for me, and I'd rather be in the newer, nicer, more advanced car with more spaceship miles than a low mileage pristine 997.
Yeah, Andy,
997 for me.
You would, yeah.
Interesting.
Just that. I don't know. I'm just old school, aren't I? Old man.
It'll fit on your lift.
The 991 wouldn't fit in the garage. It'd be too long.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like, what would you use it for? If it's kind of a 911 that does everything, I think the 991 is the obvious answer.
Yeah.
If you wanted a 911 to use sparingly, that's a real occasion to use every time, I'd probably go 997.
Yeah.
I'd say. But it's an interesting debate, and one that I'm sure a lot of people are having right now.
Yeah. I think it's the same old story, isn't it? Yeah. A nice, well looked after, up together 997 would still be a lovely thing to drive. Yeah, if you're at the cheaper end of the 997 scale, where stuff has not been loved or looked after, it's going to drive like a bag of spanners.
Yeah,
and that could put you off for life. So I think same old story. You got to buy the right car, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So back to the road trip.
Yeah.
What was that RS 4 litre like to drive, Joe? Come on.
I'm not really sure what the words are. It was cracking. I mean, I had the biggest smile I had on my face for a long time. What a car! Phenomenal. I mean, especially that setting as well. So we put some context around it.
Ideal.
Three of us jumped up early out of bed pre-breakfast, drove back out to those amazing roads we found the day before.
Who stayed in bed then?
Sorry,
who stayed in bed?
Chuck.
Chuck. Phil had to get back early, which was
of course he did.
That was quite impressive. He jumped out of bed and drove home, but that's fine. So we were up early, back out on those roads, and I Paul very kindly said, look, take the 4 litre for a blast.
Yeah.
So I did a few times, up and down and up and down.
And then the bugger out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I had to give it back. But it was on those roads as well. I mean, you could see for miles. They were. It was those sort of textbook drivers' roads that you just don't ever find empty or clear.
Yeah. So the 4 litre lives up to its reputation,
and some.
How did you find their harshness of the ride? Because it's rose jointed at the back. That's like the real difference between that and the 3.8. Was it too much for the road or not? Like,
I didn't think so at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends what you're comparing it to, I suppose. The only other thing I suppose I spend a fair bit of time in our little Cayman that's fairly track focused and fairly hard suspension, and it's considerably more comfortable than that. And obviously like I said, if it's a rose jointed setup, I didn't realise that, then that would make a lot of sense. But I mean, it's just on rails. I mean, it just goes where you point it. And I mean, the grip level was phenomenal, I thought. Yeah, I mean, not that I was obviously seeing where that was. Yeah. You could give it a good squirt, and it was it just it had loads to go, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think outside of a racetrack, if you could kind of have the environment, the most apt environment to drive that car, it was exactly
in those roads
that road
found.
at that time of day because no one was around, and also in that condition, like weather conditions, it was bone dry, and you need that for those tyres. Really.
I mean, it was a perfect storm, wasn't it? I mean, you couldn't have set it up any better.
Yeah. How did you pick that weekend? It was just it was great, wasn't it?
Lucky.
Weather-wise.
Yeah, definitely. Because the few days before was sort of biblical, and I know it sort of turned nasty when we left, so we just lucked out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And then so once we dusted day 2 off, we left probably lunchtime and started heading back, but we called in at 9 Meister.
We did. Yeah, almost forgot about that.
Like, huge shout out to those guys. Really appreciate that.
The hospitality there, I thought, was top notch.
Fantastic.
I mean, you made a quick phone call and said, look, we're around the corner, on the way, en route. Yeah, do you fancy us popping in?
Just off the M6 at Warrington, as an FYI.
Yeah. I mean, I thought they dropped everything and just, I thought, what a great reception for, an unannounced little visit for half a dozen guys. And they know their stuff, don't they? I mean, Christ, it's quite impressive setup.
Yeah, Colin, who heads that enterprise up, Colin Belton, has been around for years, and as you probably know, Andy, is kind of renowned for work, particularly with like supercharging 993s and stuff from back in the day. But like they're focusing on the
993 Speedsters as well.
Yes, they have done that. There'll be another Speedster project coming as a unique project, we'll call it. Yeah, I mean, massive premises. I've not been to another independent specialist with as many lifts as those guys. They'll put an OPC to shame for the amount of lifts.
Wow.
But it's their kind of bespoke. What do you call it? Bespoke build area. That is kind of where those guys are going. And
the builds are impressive. They've got a full paint shop off site that is all theirs as well.
Yeah.
They had a freshly painted. It was basically going to be what was the ruby stone? What's that going to end up being? So an RS recreation.
Yes,
964.
Yeah. And that, I mean, the paint on that car was phenomenal. I mean, I get quite fussy about paint and kind of you can sort of pick out defects at 6 foot and all that sort of thing, and it was top
it was
notch.
unblemished, wasn't it? And what those guys are doing is like the thesis of it is the complete opposite to a Singer. Just kind of focusing on the 964 thing. A Singer obviously is very kind of standout, whereas what those guys are doing at 9 Meister is something that's a lot more subtle.
Right.
And it's about probably what it has under the skin rather than in your face, which is...
I thought some of their bespoke options they could do, I thought were cracking. I mean, they were telling us the story of a car they were doing for a family that was in London, and I think they changed it to 4-wheel drive because they said they wanted something that they could use in all weathers, and it had to be sort of family friendly. Didn't they add what was they added? It's ABS, and they did like an uprated version, and I mean, just they were putting mod cons on the car.
Modern electronics.
Modern electronics,
kind of traditional frame
and control gear that you just most Porsche people would. It'd be the first thing they'd probably junk or pull off or pull out. And they were doing quite the opposite. They were like, what are you going to use the car for? And they were really tailoring the car to make it really usable for them. And both extreme ends of the scale as well.
Yeah. I think the thing that really stood out for me is there were a lot of base cars lying around ready to be restored and reimagined, whatever the word is for it these days. But what I noticed is they're all right-hand drive. I mean,
there wasn't one left-hand drive car in there.
The amount of right-hand drive 964 coupes kind of sitting around ready to go, and I just think that it shows how well connected Colin is more than anything to pull all these 96. It's so hard to find one these days, and as market values dictate, it's very expensive. But it seems to be they're very, very good at kind of pulling these cars out of nowhere, out of Christ knows how many barn finds are in there, but it's. So I think they've got really impressive.
Serious stock of parts as well. By the sounds of it, it sounds like there's some barn lockups with lots of kit. It's kind of what have we talked about? Oh yeah, we've got one of those lined up, and we've got an engine for that lined up, and we've got this. It's just. I think it's a wealth of parts and knowledge there. Yeah,
I was mega grateful as well because when we'd left Cumbria, we were driving down the M6. Well, actually, no, it happened on to go back earlier that morning when myself, Joe and Paul went out for this early morning drive, had this, I thought it was a knocking sound, but then it kind of went quite metallic. I thought it was coming from near side front, but it was near side rear, wasn't it, in the end? And it just wouldn't go away. I didn't know what it was, so we called 9 Meister and said, can we pop in? And while there, I said, look, it's still making this noise, but only at like low speed where it was audible. would you mind just whacking it on the ramp and just having a quick look? So obviously it's a long way to home from there. We didn't want another road to Redline car on the back of a flatbed, you know. Excuse me. So the guys, very kindly said, no problem, and whooped the wheel off, had a look, and it was basically like a stone.
Between the back plate and the disc.
Which makes sense because there was a little stretch of road near our hotel that had been resurfaced.
If
you remember,
they chucked all the stones down.
So it was kind of inevitable, really. But that was it. So super grateful to those guys at such short notice to have a look at the car because it's a long way to come home.
Absolutely.
So but then after that we kind of made our way back. Actually, you stopped off with Paul elsewhere, and Chuck and I just kicked on.
Oh, did you? So Paul obviously picks up some weird and wonderful things en route, and it was a little Mark II GTI Golf with 23,000 miles on it.
Wow.
So it was almost out the showroom. It was cool little thing. It's all unused.
What was that? Small bumper, big bumper?
It would be big bumpers, Mars red. Sort of
8 valve.
It would be. Yeah.
Oh, I love an 8 valve.
Yeah, it would be
we
8
had
valve.
one for a while, and it was just unbustable.
Yeah.
Just 112 horsepower, maybe. I think that's it. But
sounds about right.
They just rev, and it just sounds like it's never going to break. And good cars.
So that was nice. So I bumbled home in that, which was fun.
That worked out well then.
Yeah. So
that's what I mean.
Lose the 912.
He's without a doubt had the best weekend. He's driven every bloody car. You know.
Yeah. It's funny how that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes it does, doesn't it? So it's all right. And I'd tell you what was spending some time in your car, Lee, I thought was impressive.
Different car with the KWs now.
Jeez, I mean,
Interested
phenomenal.
to hear about that.
I mean, I'd only ridden passenger a few times in your car, obviously with the original setup, and it was fine, but it was a little bit all over the show, wasn't it? As you sort of self-confessed, and it wasn't quite hanging together as it should be. And I mean, what a transformation! I mean, phenomenal. I mean, driving some of those roads that we were driving up there.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, I thought it was amazing.
This is what we're going back to, aren't we? With like the whole argument against the 991 is that 996 was screaming along, and it kind of needs to keep up. And I
mean, excluding the whole 4-litre experience, because that was a little bit unicorn, but obviously spending some time in the 991s and stuff regularly. I was having far more fun in your 996. And I think actually you just had so much, you certainly felt like you had so much more space on the road. 991 just felt so much bigger. It was filling the road. As the 996, it just felt like you were choosing where to be rather than having to be.
Yeah, it looked tiny amongst those 991s, and it kind of vindicated with completely take my unbiased or with no bias at all. The 99, all you need is a 15 grand 996 and a set of coilovers, and you're away. That's kind of it. You don't really need to kind of spend out any more than that. Fantastic, to be honest.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. So thoroughly enjoyed that, which was good.
Pleased you enjoyed that. So what's the kind of prognosis with the 912 then? As in, have you got it back yet, or?
I don't have it back, no. So I literally sent it straight down to Matt ZRS, who I've talked about a few times, who's sort of looked after the car ongoingly, and he's done lots of bits and bobs on it. He's already done some homework, and there's an option where you can swap out for later drive shafts, which have more like a sort of CV type joint rather than like a universal joint. So considerably stronger. I mean, it turns out it's a bit of a known weak point on those at that age and all the rest of it.
Oh,
so,
really? Yeah, fair one.
It was going to happen at some point. So those most of the bits are there. I think there's a couple of bits that we're just waiting on. So hopefully that'll be back up and going pretty soon.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, it trundled up there with all those other cars, 300 plus miles, and it didn't miss a beat. So I think that's fair play to 50 plus years old. It was doing all right.
And Porsche engineering.
Yeah, too right. Flying the flag.
I think the plan is it not to try and squeeze another road trip in, before the weather turns and whatnot, just off the back of the fact that we've all been stuck indoors all year.
Oh, that's a cracking idea.
Would you go for Europe, or would you stay UK?
Last week, I think I would have quite happily gone to Europe. This week, don't know. I think
lockdown.
Yeah, stuff. it's just the whole quarantine. What's it?
Yeah, I don't know about you, Andy, but if I had some flights to Spain booked, I'd be pretty gutted right now. Would you?
Clearly, I'm just the butt of every joke right now.
I've got some booked for Greece. in September.
Yeah.
No chance. Might as well write them off now.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, that's the thing. So it all seems to be about the UK staycation, which seems to include...
Oh, have you tried booking anywhere?
Car side. Well, yeah, this is it. This is the other side of it. But it's a case of booking it and fingers crossed if you can get somewhere. But,
I think if we skipped across the water into France, like not too far from home, fairly easily, and if the world ends and it's a drama, it's not that hard to kind of scoot back.
Yeah,
and I think that might be worth a shout.
I would like to throw out Ireland into the mix because
this came up, didn't it?
It did during Road to Red Wine.
Just
before Road to Red Wine.
We haven't had enough red wine stories, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean,
how much wine did we get through doing Road to Red Wine?
Well, I think the credit card bill was about £700.
You still need to put that on the group, actually.
Actually, I do.
Yeah. But yeah, it was. I mean, put a beer in people, and I think we'd just have a bit of a chat. And there was. It's kind of unfair, isn't it? I think really kind of to go into it too much. But it's nice to hear people's opinions from different parts of car culture. And actually, what came up quite a lot was Porsche centres, Porsche dealerships.
Yeah.
Without kind of chucking too much slander out there.
I mean, in terms of the red wine talks, it was. I think it's disappointment. I think unfortunately, most people have got some sort of negative connotation with various different Porsche centres that they should be top of their game and they should be delivering the best service. They are the brand representative in the country, blah blah blah, and they're just I think they underdeliver. I think and whatever that looks like. I mean, hopefully somebody would listen and hopefully take some of that on board. But certainly, I think everybody sat around the table had struggled. And we're not talking about one centre specifically. But as a collective, there was a general consensus that, just consistently under-delivering and silly things that shouldn't happen. And
so it wasn't just wine, it was whining.
Yeah, there was whining as well.
Yeah, we were talking about places to go, and I'd mooted Ireland on the chat. And I absolutely, wholeheartedly cannot recommend that place I cannot speak any higher of it.
Yeah. I think the only barrier with Ireland, isn't it, is the getting there.
It's a 4-hour ferry journey, no matter what way you look at it. Obviously, you need to take your car.
Cuts into a weekend, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it goes through to get there. Yeah, obviously you have to drive through Wales, which is good and bad, really. Like if you go from the top at I think it's Holyhead at the top, isn't it? I mean, fantastic. Have a nice drive through Snowdonia is the dream, but the reality is it's a bit of a nightmare there at the moment, isn't it? With they've got a tourist problem as it is.
Yeah.
But then it's 4 hours on a very choppy crossing. But get through all of that. I'm adamant it's some of the best driving roads in Europe over there. It's quiet, it's beautiful, the people are very welcoming.
Yeah.
It's kind of everything you need ingredients wise for a fantastic driving experience or driving weekend.
Yeah.
It's just getting there, particularly if you're coming from mainland Europe. I mean, it's a pain in the bum to get to, isn't it? As simple as that,
Yeah. There's a whole nother jaunt on, isn't it?
Oh, isn't it just, you go Eurotunnel, then you've got a dash from Dover to God, what is it? Is it Holyhead at the top or bottom of Wales? I can't remember.
Top, isn't it? Top.
What's the one at the bottom then? The one that goes into Rosslare? Pembroke right. Ports. You got a dash from Dover to Pembroke. I mean, that's a schlep. We're talking about us going from here to Cumbria.
Yeah, similar sort of journey.
Yeah. But if you can stomach all that, you definitely will be rewarded.
Well, I think it's worth some homework, isn't it, to tee up what the options are and work out what the easiest way of getting there is, or the least painful way.
Yeah,
and see if we make it happen, because
maybe we could look. So if anybody at home listening has got some ideas, be great to hear for a good road trip. But also, providing the numbers stay relatively low, because let's face it, it's socially irresponsible at the moment to do big numbers, but also road trips, I think, is better 6-7 cars at the absolute maximum.
Yeah.
Any more than that, it just kind of gets a bit hazy, doesn't it? But maybe there's space for a couple of listeners to join us or something. How cool would that be?
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe we look at letting that happen. But for now, might be a wrap, mightn't it?
I think we're there. That is episode 1 of series 2. Yeah, all done.
Good to be back.
Got it. Here we go.